I don't know what I'd do without one of those things, you know. When I first got on the internet, I was making slides and stuff. True story. And because everybody else was doing it. Everybody was making slides to do presentations, to do webinars. And then after a while, I just got sick of it because it took forever. I remember when I got involved in network marketing originally, it was back in 2002. And how I got involved was, got a phone call from my brother, Will. He's here. He's a hypnotist. And he said, Dave, come to my house. Now. And I walked over like this. I can't really remember it. He got this whiteboard out, right? And he talked for like 4 hours. And it went in no specific direction at all. Right? But at the end of about hour 4, as I was nodding in and out of a trance, I said, I'm going to get rich. And that's how I got in Ramway. Not that I'm mentioning names. And, the goal was get 5, who get 5, who get 5. And of course, in 14 days, the whole world's in. And I set out to get my 5. Called my upline, a guy named Dennis. Great guy, by the way. And I said, Dennis, how do I get rich? How do I get my 5? Now. And he says, okay, I got a plan for it. Make a list of your family and friends. Get a whiteboard. Invite them over and show them the plan. Right? Problem is, my family and friends were in Alaska or missionaries at the time over in England. They were all poor. Right? That was another problem. And so I was in a new city. I was living in Phoenix. And the only family that I had there was my brother, and he's the one that got me in. Right? Curses. So I said, well, what if you don't have any family and friends? Whatever you just screamed, yes. You are important. Gotta teach people a little. So he said, well, you gotta go meet some new people. And I said, well, where? And he says, people everywhere. What are you talking about? Church, Walmart, Safeway, car lots. I mean, those guys don't make any money at all. Imagine how much they'd like this. And I was like, yeah. So I wandered around for like 4 days, and I had 4 people come to my house, which at that time was an apartment with no furniture. And I had a whiteboard, and I still everybody sit on the floor. And I saw nothing for like 4 hours, because that's what I saw my brother do. So the best way I can describe this whiteboard is it's like a fire to a caveman.
Bunga, bunga.
I stare at it, and images from the future start to come forth. One time, I gotta tell you this hilarious story. Hilarious, okay? And then I'll get into some business here. So, I was at Amway, and they're like hyper-religious, right? Amway's a great company, by the way. I'm not insulting them. Anyways, off on the subject.
Good move.
I did earn $4.50 over the next 3.5 years. But, I'm in this deal, and I'm in church. And I was listening to a lot of audios, and they're like super religious, right? And so, I started going to church again and stuff, of course, because I'm an Amway, right? And I'm in church, and I'm sitting there, and I keep nodding off like this, because it was really boring. And then I have this dream where Jesus is showing me the plan. Half the room staring fire at me, right?
I'm so sorry.
True story, right? And I woke up in church, like, laughing hysterically. where you're like sitting down and you're like not off and you wake up. And then you look around and nobody's laughing but you. And I've had some funny other dreams too. One time I was watching a lot of science fiction. I just got a weird mind, I gotta tell you. I've watched some science fiction a lot, right? I think I had watched Farscape like 4 seasons straight or something like that. Yeah, there's like 4 of us that are weird, right? And I one night it's late and like I pass out and I dream that there's this UFO that comes to Earth. Gigantic spaceship, like really huge and like black, this like disc, and everybody's scared, and we gather around, and it's like Independence Day, you know, where these huge saucers, and there's this beam of light that comes down, and this little green man descends down with a whiteboard. Starts speaking in like a Martian tongue or something like that, right? And there's a translator. There's a translator, right? And it says, "We're expanding into your galaxy." That's next after Spanish. You know.
I don't know.
Just saying. So, I mean, I got this originally when I was exposed to network marketing. True story. I can't remember how old I was. I was in 8th grade. That's all I remember. However old 8th graders are. I hadn't flunked any classes, but I was 8th grade up in Alaska going to a school called Tanana. And I was failing out of 8 classes. I think I had 8 Fs. Right? Because that was when the puberty kicked into my already spacey mind, you know? And I spent the entire day drawing Spider-Man and thinking about getting rich online. Not yet. Next year. Anyway, so, you know, I'm failing. And I'm driving around with my dad in a van, right? And he looks irritated, you know what I'm saying? It's like, anybody in here had your parents irritated with you at one point in your life? You know, it's okay. You know?
All of my life.
I love my dad. My dad is actually an amazing dad. And he looks just like he's getting irritated, you know, like he's shaking and he's tense and like he's going like this. And I look over at him and I was like, what? And I got a beanie on and I'm being like, of course, an asshole because I'm 13. You know? 13-year-olds know everything. And I said, what's wrong with you? And he says, you have got to be the stupidest kid in the family.
Can you imagine?
I started laughing. I was like, I'm not stupid. He says, I know, that's the problem. Why the hell are you failing school? You know, it's like really bothering. We got like 8 Fs, right? You actually just having a talk. And I said, what does it matter? It's the stupidest stuff I've ever heard in my life. I'm learning. You know what I mean? I already know how to do math. I already know how to read. And now it's just boring stuff all day. And he said, I want you to realize that you're going to have to provide for family at one point in the future, right? And if you don't get good grades in school, you're not going to be able to go to college. If you don't go to college, you're not going to be able to get good work and support a family, right? And I said, so in other words, you want me to do what you do? Not really interesting to me. Because when I was a kid, I had fantasies about being a judge, but then I actually went to my dad's work, and I was so bored, I almost had a heart attack, and I was only 4. And so I said, what can somebody do who is just not going to do school? I'm just not, right? I want to make money. I don't want to do school. So he said, I got something. Got something for you. Now, every Wednesday, we used to have people come up to our house and pick up, like, SA8 and, you know, Glister toothpaste and Double X vitamins, right? And LLC, yeah, we used that to clean the house. The toothpaste were primarily responsible for making my teeth yellow in my teenage years. But it was this thing. And so he says, next Thursday, got it. And I said, okay. So next Thursday, my dad comes to me. He says, son, dress up. I said, dress up? Why? I'm going to church. He says, no, I got something a little bit different for you. He dragged me to an Amway meeting for the whiteboard. True story. Because I was failing school, and he figures, well, you know, sponsor my son, and maybe he'll provide for the retirement. You know, lots of those guys failed school, too. That makes sense. I'll drag my son to Amway. So I go in there, and there's 2 guests, me, and a homeless man. Not that there's any connection there. And then a bunch of old people, right? And there's this guy who's like Rhonda Brown. Anybody here know Ron? Know who that is? Yeah, one guy. He's like an emerald in Amway. And he's up there and he realizes there's no guests, so just decides to goof off and tell jokes and stories for 2 hours. And this homeless guy just keeps interrupting. And that was the only thing that made me be able to pay attention, because I thought it was so damn funny, right? He was the heckler, you know, like the guy in the front row. It's always heckling. Where's the guy? Back there, right, heckler, right? Heckler. And he keeps asking questions. Is this a scam? Right? In the middle, like he's just talking about something. Is this a scam? Right? Laughing because he knows nobody's going to get in anyways, right? And he just turns around and just relaxes. He's like, I flew up here from Seattle for nothing, right? Thanks for bringing people to the meeting, you know. And he turned around and laughs. And it was really entertaining. The guy kept asking dumb questions, right? Somebody had offered to buy him dinner if he came to the plant. And not the best strategy. We got one for that, right? And I'm laughing at this guy, but then he gets to the magic question, because you know you're a kid, and you just kind of like, you know, think you know everything. And I look at my dad, and he's got 4 of his buddies that show up every Wednesday to get SA8 that are all like lawyers and judges. And I was like, why are these guys coming to a house to get products, you know, from this company? It just is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I said, you know, I knew what my dad's check was. It was like about, you know, $70 every 8 years. And you know, it's like, and he spent, you know, hundreds of dollars a month in products. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. So this guy asks, how much money you making, to this guy named Ron. And I was thinking, you know, $4 every 6 years, and this guy's like got a job and he's flying all over the place to show the plan from his job income. And he says, well, great question. And it's not really fair because I've only been in, you know, a couple years. He says, and I do this part-time in the evenings. He says, but last year, and I said, oh, here it comes. I was about to just burst into laughter. I thought he was going to say, I'm more excited than I've ever been in my life, right? How do you know a guy that's been in Amway for 8 years, right, isn't making any money? They're just getting started. They're more excited than they've ever been in their life, right? How long have you been in? I'm more excited than I've ever been in my life, right? I used to say that too. Sadly. That's how I know. And so anyway, this guy turns around and he says, well, it's not really fair. Last year I only made, and I was like this, I was about to burst into laughter, teenager, $210,000. And he wrote it in like huge, gigantic letters that filled the whole whiteboard. And I leaned forward and I said, you're shitting. And like my face, like, you know, you have that color shift where you get a little bit of a warm feeling, you know, and I look at this guy and I said, if that stupid idiot can make $210,000 a year selling soap and vitamins to homeless people and teenagers, I'm going to be rich. Took me a little while to figure that one out. Lots of Walmart Safeways and paying, right? Keep your options open. Nope. Okay. Hey, you keep your options open? Sure. Right. Give me a card, call them. Hey, let's meet at the coffee shop. Okay, show up, nobody's there. Anybody ever done that? No shows?
Yes!
Who here has driven to somebody's house like 2 hours away with a whiteboard and for an appointment where they're supposed to invite people over to show them something, and you show up with a whiteboard at their house and they're not home? Who's done? Right?
I think
hundreds
I've
of
done that
times for me, right? Who's had somebody threaten your life in a home meeting before? Who's gone over for a church party, not realizing because you think you're going to show the plan or something, and you show up to the church party and somebody says, I want to thank you for coming to the church party, and they wheel out the whiteboard. Who's done that? I didn't invite it, you know, sponsored a pastor once, true story. And he invited like 40 people to his house, I think, to show him the business. And I show up with a whiteboard and suit and tie, of course, you know. And I show up there and he says, everybody, I want to thank you for coming over to the party. For the next 2 hours, We're going to be hearing about a business. All right, go for it. All right, then you got to recover from that, right? People say, Dave, why are you a good speaker? But, you know, you can make people laugh in a situation like that. You're pretty good after a while. You know? You got to get people to go from pure hatred to saying, I'm going to be rich. That's right? So, I mean, one thing I want to get across, guys, before I started doing this on the internet, one of the reasons I can sell like I can sell is because of what I've done. And because of the pain I've been through. And you guys don't need to go through that pain because we have systems for that. That's a big discovery that I made, is that you guys don't have to do what I do to make this money, right? Lawrence Stan doesn't do what I do. Does he still make money? He made $1 million, got a ring, right? Who in here believes you can get $1 million ring here?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody hold up your hands like you got a ring. I want you to say it out loud. Repeat after me. If Dave Wood can do it,
If Dave Wood can do it,
I can do it.
I can do it.
Better,
Better,
quicker,
quicker,
and more efficiently.
and more efficiently.
I don't have to throw church parties and show the plan,
I don't have to throw church parties and show the plan,
because I can get $1 million ring
because I can get $1 million ring
just marketing online.
just marketing online.
That's it.
That's it.
Period.
Period.
Right? Who here believes that? Who in here has sponsored at least one person before, customer or affiliate? Doesn't matter. So raise your hand. Give yourself a hand. Give yourself a hand. Celebrate yourself. Who in here it took you less than 6 months to sponsor your first person? Raise your hand. You're doing a lot better than I did.
Wow.
Okay? So I want you to repeat after me. If I can sponsor a person,
If I can sponsor a person,
I can sponsor one a month.
I can sponsor one a month.
If I can sponsor one a month,
If I can sponsor one a
I
month,
can sponsor one a week.
I can sponsor one a week.
If I can sponsor one a week,
If I can sponsor one a week,
I can sponsor one a day.
I can sponsor one a day.
And if I can do that,
And if I can do that,
I can sponsor 2 a day.
I can sponsor 2 a day.
Because it's easy.
Because it's easy.
And I've been shown how to do it.
And I've been shown how to do it.
And I'm going to make it happen
And I'm going to make it happen
now.
right now.
That's it.
That's it.
Period.
Period.
So here's the beautiful thing is, you don't have to know a lot here. You have to focus, right? Because you really shouldn't be teaching your team anything if you're making less than $30,000 a month. Oh, now everybody's clapping. You don't get that, do you? Okay. Let me explain why, and then let's do another cult chant. The reason why is because if I can show people how to make $500,000 a month, and I've made $30,000 a month selling bull crap that, well, I mean, it wasn't bull crap, it was good stuff, but just, I'll say weenie commissions, and I still did it. And I've been doing it for years, and I've been sponsoring 2-Day for years, and Tony Rush has been doing it since he's been in Empower, and Lawrence Tam can do it, and we've got all these leaders that know how to train your team. And then you go there, not getting those results, not making $30,000 a month, not listening at all, and you're telling them what you're doing, you screw them up.
Right. That's good.
And if you really want to help people, do what my sponsor did. Is Adam Chandler in the room, by the way? Are you here? Is he here? He was here the other night. Is he here? He just walked down the hall. Okay, if he's in here, he tell somebody, yell a woman, tell him to come up if he's here, because I just want to chat with him here for a second. My sponsor on the internet, not in Empower, obviously, but when I got online, best thing he did for me was not help me at all. Can I repeat that? Best thing he did for me was not help me at all.
Yep.
Was I frustrated? Yeah. I was pissed off. Not him, but I wanted help. Right? I want somebody to hold me by the hand. I want somebody to show me specifically what to do. I want somebody to say, here, Dave, let me touch your butt as you walk across the finish line. Right? What everybody wants. Who in here has been frustrated before because you feel like somebody's not personally helping you? Right? Honest, come on, be honest. And you're like, no, right? I'm not raising my hand because I'm disciplined and can't be influenced by hypnosis. You watch. Right? He didn't help me. Didn't even remember who I was. Who in here has been frustrated when you've met me and I didn't remember who you were like 3 months later or something? Honestly, come on, there's probably a few of you, right? Say, hey, is your name Bobby? You're like, no, my name is Frederick. Right? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll remember you next time. And I'm like, hey, is your name Susan? You're like, no, my name is Frederick. I remember your name when you're making $30,000 a month. Right? That got clapped. Good job. Right? Some people are like, I'm not clapping for that. Okay. I remember when you're making $30,000 a month and are willing to clap for people. So you screw people up. Oh, we got him right here. I just want to ask this guy like 3 questions because now he's here. This is his first event. Give my original sponsor on the internet. He resisted coming to Power Network events. This is his first one. It's really different. It's weird. We're weirdos, aren't we, Adam? We're not even selling anything. Isn't that weird? I want to ask this guy some questions because give this guy a hand. He sponsored me on the internet. So, right? You made a lot of money from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Off of the 10%, I did 10% of everything that you did in that company.
And that turned out to be over 100,000, I think. Still make money from me, I think.
Absolutely.
I never logged in.
Right.
Right. But you know, give him a hand for making money off me. Now, he's going to remember this differently, okay? Probably, because there's always 2 sides to every story. But you're a little spacey like me, right?
Absolutely.
So if somebody comes up and they're like, hey, I'm in your team, you don't really remember who they are most of the time, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I call you. I get into his team because I see a video. And here's the magic of his video. His video, you were new, right?
I was about maybe 6-8 months.
I didn't know. He didn't like the video either, right? And he didn't even look confident. Truthfully, that video, the really old one,
right.
That one for Effusion. We'll say the name of the company because they're out of business. Effusion.
Effusion.
Right? And I was mad at Effusion at the time, you know? And I was clicking on stupid videos, angry at all the people joining. And, you know, like this. And then I see this video with this guy, right? And this video said something like this. Hi, who's Adam?
It wasn't like that.
No, I'm making fun of him. I'm making fun of him. I love this guy. He helped me a lot. Hi, this is Adam. And if you're watching this video, you're in Effusion, probably want more leads and sales. I do it totally on the internet. I don't even talk to anybody. Click here, right? Something like that. I mean, more confident than that. I'm totally making fun of this guy, right? So I click on the video. I said, if this dumb, stupid idiot. So I click on below the video, right? And I go to this page.